Your call has been forwarded to an automated voice messaging system.
Oh no.
513 is not available.
You could just bleep all that out.
Full and cannot accept any messages.
Your mailbox is full.
Goodbye. Your call has been forwarded.
Welcome to the Trash Cats Trash Cast. I'm Richard.
I'm Steven.
And today, I need to get some things off my chest. Last episode, I came in with some real hot, living in spite of God energy. And the previous few days have not changed that one bit.
This is an emergency broadcast, okay? This is a lights off recording, okay? Big stuff. We had a whole episode ready, and we scrapped it because
we said, fuck it, that's not important anymore. We need to talk about.
We're going to do it live. We got zoos and fruits to talk about, but so what the fuck's going on?
So
you're in Looney Tune land. You've been wacky.
So I've been working a lot lately. Tis the summer, tis the season.
Tis the tism.
Tis the tism is right. Boy, I want that on a shirt real bad. So I'm tired. I make mistakes. Things happen. We're all human. But I can't be blamed for what God has bestowed upon me yesterday.
The conspiracy.
So a huge part of my job is making sure that all of the locations that we have are well stocked and have all the supplies that they need to do their job. And,
you're a logistics man.
Exactly. Yeah, that's exactly what it says on my resume. So sorry, I think I got barbecue seasoning in my eye from those potato chips. Pretty cool. It's a nice sweet burn.
Get a couple drops of lemonade in there.
Yeah, exactly. That's the flushing out with the lemonade. Fuck. So a lot of that means that I have to get a bunch of, boxes together full of supplies and wheel it into the zoo on a hand truck, from the parking lot. And, I did that yesterday. And at some point between the parking lot and the kiosk, the key, the fob from my car key, the remote part with the buttons.
I hate new car keys. Yes. It's so disgusting. The $300 to $600 keys where it's the digital fob and the key. The digital fob has to be in proximity to the car for the key to allow to work. It's so stupid.
Yeah. So it's got like the key part stayed on my key ring, but the electronic part came off. So not super cool.
Give us distances here from the car to where you dropped off.
From the car to where I dropped off the fruit. It's maybe 125 yards.
Okay, so not far, but you're on a fruit delivery mission from point A, the zoo parking lot, to point B.
Correct.
The food stall, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. It's really,
125 meters.
Yeah, it's really not that far. It's a straight path in through like the gates. Like part of it's like going through the parking lot, but I parked close to the entrance, so there wasn't like a whole lot of that. And then the rest of it's just like a main path that's pretty clear for the most part. There's a couple benches, but that's it.
Mm-hmm. How busy is the zoo that day?
It was not that busy. I went towards the end of the day, and it was starting to get like a little rainy, like cloudy out. So it was very sparse.
Now,
there were people there, but it was not a lot.
How many wild birds? Do they have peacocks that?
Oh, there are the
patrol?
Canadian the cobra chickens are in full effect here.
What the fuck is a cobra chicken?
The Canadian geese.
Ugh.
They hiss at you, and they got little teeth on their tongues.
They're kind of cool.
Cobra chickens.
Gotcha.
They're actually, a bunch of them are having their babies right now, so there's a bunch of little baby.
So it's dangerous
geese
out there.
Yeah, it's basically the wild.
Yeah. Any geese could have napped it when you weren't looking.
That's fully true, and it's not out of the spectrum of their behavior. So I get in there.
Wait. I need to understand this fully. How does the part of the fob that has the chip, how does that disappear, but not the key?
So the key part is what is attached to, it's like where the key ring is on it. So that part is attached to the like little clip full of keys, my janitor style ring of keys that I have for all the things that I need keys to.
How does
that stayed on there? It's able to disconnect so that you can actually use the metal key part to open the key fob, the digital part, to put in a new battery.
Okay, I guess that makes sense. That seems... Okay. It's not a tray that pops out. They just let the whole digital part come out.
Yeah, so there's a little button on the side that you have to push to unlock it so that it can come off. It's, you have to kind of use your nail to push it. That's how small it is. It's not definitely not the size of a finger pushable button.
Gotcha.
So
you have no idea how it was engaged.
Correct. Yeah. Okay. I assume it was when I was loading something from my car onto the hand cart, or when I was unloading things from the hand cart into the kiosk.
Sure.
But I didn't realize that it was missing until I get back to my car and I go to reach for my keys and they're not there. The worst, not the worst part, but part of the thing that made this suck more was at the time we were kind of running ahead of schedule with our prep. So a friend from work came with me to help me, unpack quicker and then do the job quicker. But they had left their car back at, our nervous system, our warehouse. I had to, the goal was to get them back to their car because they had to go see a house that day and some other shit. They have actual important business to do. Mm-hmm. And me fucking up or me losing my keys, I keep saying me fucking up, but I can't blame myself because all things happen through God.
It's a design problem.
Yeah, exactly. So now I'm I feel responsible because I'm holding them back.
To be clear, how did you know right away? Because the key was there, or could you just see that the fob part's gone?
The fob part is like a square
gray
black piece of plastic. Yeah. So that part, I reached down to grab it to push the button to unlock to open the trunk so I could throw the handcart back in there.
And it's just bare naked key.
Yeah, exactly.
Ugh.
It was a bad feeling immediately, and I thought, oh no. And I checked my pockets, and it's not in my pockets. And I checked my back pockets, it's not in my back pockets. But why would it be in my back pockets? Who knows? But I checked, and I checked all around me on the ground and in the parking lot, and we retraced the whole way back. We could not find it. We're looking underneath all of the equipment back at the kiosk, not there. Now the goal is, can I start this car without using the key fob? I have a key. I can unlock the car and get into the car, but I can't turn the car on. So I'm looking everywhere for somewhere I can insert this key. Like a car do.
Now, to be clear, you were dropping off fruit, right?
Yes. I was dropping off fruit to that location.
Okay.
Yeah.
So all the fruit's been dropped off. You get back to the car.
Well,
no bueno.
Yes, but no. I had another delivery to make at a different location.
Okay.
So I had about probably 30 some odd pounds of fruit in my car.
So you re-upped on fruit.
Okay. Yeah, so I had a bunch more fruit, and most of it was berries and stuff that need to be refrigerated. So that was cool.
Now you're in a car.
Hot day. No car. Air conditioning in the car. Can't start the car.
Zoo parking lot.
Yep.
30 pounds of fruit, no working key.
Yep.
Okay.
Correct.
Excellent.
I'm on the phone with Toyota. I'm on the phone
What the fuck is Toyota going to do?
Well, I was trying to figure out, like, I'm going through the manual, and I figure, okay, maybe I can get a hold of somebody through, like, maintenance. Teach me how to, like, teach me how to
Hotwire my
Dougie.
car.
Teach me, yeah, exactly. Teach me how to start this car.
Without the security fob.
It's like, I don't have the digital part, but I have the actual key part. I have a piece of metal that can insert and open the car door.
It would make
Why
the
can't
fob
I turn on
irrelevant.
Well, yeah, so, like, the fob is good for, like, the push to start or,
So people don't steal your car.
to
with
open
the key.
to lock your doors from a distance. Like, this has been a thing with other cars that I've had. My 99 Toyota had a separate key that you had to use for the ignition, but the key fob was still there to lock the doors and to unlock the doors and to open the trunk and hit the panic button.
This is the future. Okay, you understand why they're there.
So you lose features in the future.
No, in theory, you gain I hate it too, because when I broke into my own car by punching through the windows, I found out that a replacement key was $600.
Yep.
Which is an absolute scam. But the point is like, let's say you did need a new key made. Mm-hmm. The blacksmith or the keysmith, whatever, forging your key. They can't fuck you up. Like, no one can steal your key without you knowing, because they have to take the fob too. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. You can't just copy someone's key anymore.
Yeah. That's, fair, I guess, but that's not my problem today.
Yeah, sure.
That's not what I'm angry about today. I'll be angry about that
in the car with all your spoiling fruit.
Yeah, so the situation was I was, it's after hours at this point at the zoo. The only people who could possibly come get me, from what I understood to be true, were people that had access to the parking lot I was in, which is other zoo employees. So I'm texting everybody I know who has a zoo badge. I'm reaching out to all the people who could possibly help me out here.
Well, what is the game plan? Do you have a spare?
I do I do own a spare key,
because that is literally the only other thing in the world that will start your car in the next 24 hours.
Yeah. The problem was I hadn't seen the key in months.
Okay.
I took it. I used it at some point, and then I have a key rack by my door in my house, and it usually has my usual set of keys and then my spare set of keys. The spare set of keys hasn't been there for a long time, and I've cleaned the house since then.
What did you do with it last?
I couldn't remember. So I was thinking about, I called you. It's at one point I called you, and I think I told you hey, whenever you get a minute.
I had pretty good advice, I think. I don't know what you did.
You did. So the advice you gave, or one of the pieces of advice you gave, was call Keith or call somebody and see if they can go to my house that lives up closer there and see if they can find the key for me and then bring it to me.
Yeah. The other, because I think this is general good advice. Anytime you're stranded, because I've been stranded a lot, okay? Priority A
should just say that. It kind of makes sense, but go ahead.
Should always be to get yourself home as soon as possible. Fuck the car, fuck the fruit. I get the fuck out of there and I figure the other shit out later. Because I'm not waiting around 5 hours for a AAA, a tow truck, or someone to maybe find a key. I'm just getting the fuck out of there and getting home.
Now, let me offer a point of perspective.
Sure.
This was a situation where I haven't really had a day off or a time to be alone and
you were delirious.
Yeah, a little bit. So I was I kind of saw it a bit as a
reprieve.
Break. Yeah.
That's insane. It's called being abandoned in a zoo parking lot with spoiling fruit on a hot day. It's not a break.
It's worse things have happened to better people.
You were becalmed. You know when
Becalmed?
yeah, it's like when you're on a ship, like it happens to pirates sometimes, where you get into water where often it's shallow or you're too far away and there's no wind for days at a time, so you're just floating.
You're stuck.
Yeah, you're stuck. You're becalmed. You're forced to be slowed down.
That's it's basically, you're right. It's basically the same thing as that.
You were becalmed. Yeah. Forcibly calmed.
The other piece of advice you gave me was to call an Uber and to have them take me to the other location to drop off my fruit, and then have them take me home. Now, here's the problem with that.
Okay.
I don't use Uber often or ever. I think
sucks.
the last time I needed to use an Uber was when I needed to get my car fixed and I needed to drop my car off. So
Uber's for the unloved, for the people that don't have people that love them to drive them places.
yeah. Even just to go home at that time of the day, it's rush hour time. It's like, 5:30, 6 o'clock. To get back to my house, which is a solid 30-minute drive away,
That's
would
an
have been
important factor.
Go ahead, take a guess at how much it would have cost.
Over $50.
Yes,
Like 60.
86.
That's a bit high. I
Yeah.
don't know why it was that high.
It was, surge times and some other shit, and then it was going to be a little while, and I was like, no, I'm not gonna spend $80 to get home.
I would have if it saved me 1 hour, because I hate that shit. So I hate being stranded or stuck or like becalmed. I refuse to be calm.
But again, understand the point of perspective. So one, I did have my backup plan. So listen. I did have a backup plan. The backup plan was my mom and my niece were were downtown in Detroit at a museum.
What's the ETA?
From Detroit, they can be there. They could be from where they were to where I was in about 20, 25 minutes.
This is like a real life riddle. Like Sherlock could have cracked this case in a second, but we're not quite that bright. So you call them, I assume.
So I text my mom.
Why?
Because it's not an urgent thing at the moment. Also, I think when I text her, I was on the phone with Toyota. I was waiting on hold with Toyota.
Here's the little thing about moms, okay?
Tell me about mom.
Whatever they are doing is not nearly as important as what we got going on. Okay, that's what moms are for. You're supposed to interrupt them in the middle of their things, and they're supposed to drop everything and come fix it. That's their job.
You should exercise your right to be a lifelong burden.
Absolutely.
So she did get back to me, and I didn't see it. Because I was on the phone and some other things, like my phone didn't like.
So you made her panic and worry.
Yeah, exactly.
Great. Yep.
Yep. That's again, I'm doing my duty to be a lifelong burden. So
mom's out. Your closest pickup is out of the equation.
Yes.
Nice. Okay.
From what I saw. So after I got off the phone with you, actually, so I saw her message and we talked and I realized they're going down to the museum, and my niece is only in town for a little while. I want her to go have these experiences. I want my mom to be able to spend time with her. My mom works from home a lot of the time, so even when Samara's home, it's not like they're spending quality time together. Meanwhile, when I'm home, we're chilling all the time. Like we're watching Hannibal together, which is great, by the way. We're halfway through the second season.
Nice.
I'm taking her out to, buy art supplies and taking her to work, and like we're hanging out.
Eating some good food, probably.
So, yeah, for sure. And now my mom's got some good quality time with her, and I don't want to interfere with that. I want her to have that experience. So I'm like, take your time, enjoy the museum. I'll be cool. I'm just going to kick it here. And
what's the dollar amount of this fruit that's in the process of spoiling?
That is a solid question. Let me
punch it into fruitcalculator.com.
We can edit this out, but I can actually get you that number.
Because I assume it was frozen fruit that also had man hours prepping, and you need it for tomorrow, the morning,
So
right?
no, so this was I did have some frozen fruit. It wasn't prepped, it was just extras. So we have like little small packets of like extra unportioned fruit. So when someone has a, can I add strawberries to that? Can I add
When they're a
blueberries to
whiny
this
little
one?
bitch that needs
Exactly.
extra fruit. Yeah.
Exactly, yeah.
You toss them a measly piece or two.
Yeah.
The freezer burnt shit.
You give me a whole extra $1, I'll give you 2 blueberries in this. So let's see here.
And then we also need the estimated value of what it will be worth the following morning, which is what you need it for, correct?
Yeah. So and I have that number for you as well.
Because it's not only it's not like you need the fruit, but it's your company needs that fruit to be somewhere in the morning. You're not like so hungry for fruit you can't abandon it. It's like this fruit is product the following day.
See here. So I'm sitting on at this point I was sitting on about $91 worth of fresh organic produce.
That ain't fruit worth sneezing at.
I had blueberries, I had strawberries, I had kiwis, and I had pineapples. The next day, so today, it would have been today.
Okay.
We made a lot more than that. I don't know if I should give the whole actual number of those sales. Here's what I can do.
Doesn't matter. We have no idea what percent of that product or profit was solely off the fruit.
I mean, that's
that
that's the math I'm doing right now because I have those numbers. I have access to that.
I'm gonna say 162 off $96 of fruit.
160 like $162.
Yeah, so I would imagine off $96 of fruit you profit 70.
Oh, no,
high?
for sure. No, that's very low.
Jesus, you got a fruit racket going on.
Let me see here. That's
you know what? I don't like the people of Detroit either. I charge top dollar for this fruit.
So let's see. Here, do this. Okay, wait, no, I can do this math in my head. 400, 700.
Well, that sun's going to your head because you're struggling.
So $850 worth of.
Holy shit! You can 10x fruit.
Apparently.
8x, right?
Yeah. That's
8.25x.
Yeah, so there's a nerd out there doing the actual math.
Our fans are on.
It was there's an actual there was without a doubt there was a risk to not getting that fruit there because also I was the one working that location today, so I had to, like, if I didn't bring it there, I'm shooting myself in the foot for tomorrow.
Probably would have been fired.
Yeah, well,
your job was on the line, bro.
It would have. I would have been upset with myself.
Sure.
And I can't have that. I will not. That will not be allowed.
Okay, fair.
So the situation as it currently sits at this point.
What is the Jack Bauer 24? What is the timer on this fruit like? Like, put stakes on this. How long do you have before the fruit's bad?
So luckily there was a nice little breeze going at the time. It wasn't crazy hot yesterday up here. It was in the upper 60s, low 70s range. It wasn't crazy.
It's pretty nice.
But the sun was shining. We're inside of a hot car. It wouldn't have done it much better to move it outside. But the good news is I could open the car doors so that there was a little breeze going through the car.
So under 70 degrees, what is it packaged in?
The pineapples are just whole pineapples in a box.
What is the start temperature?
Start temperature? How do you mean?
Like things weren't frozen; they were just fridged.
Right. Yeah. So most of the things are cool at like room temperature.
So you probably have like
the
5
pineapples
hours.
and kiwis are mostly cool at like low mid 60s ish in a an unhuman environment. They're good.
Well, you're the chef. I mean,
The berries you want to keep those in a refrigerator. The berries are the ones like the strawberries and blueberries. Those will start to wilt and turn on you
how long?
within a few hours.
So you're on the clock.
Yeah, I'm on the clock with this one. I'm pushing it. I'm pushing my luck.
At this point in time, when no one's picked up phone calls or whatever, how much time has passed?
About an hour and a half.
Okay, we're pushing it.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
So the situation as it sits is not only have I, reached out and like figured out, okay, it's going to be at least an hour or two before my mom gets here.
Ugh.
I don't have it. I've reached out to everyone else and like someone had everyone's got some kind of personal thing going on. They all have
They all lie.
People do all these crazy shits on Friday. Like they don't have to work at the market at, 6:00 the next day. So I go back up to the security because at this point I already put in a lost and found request for my key fob. I'm sure I'll never see it again.
Or you're going to get sued because like a goose chokes to death. Like,
Yeah. Well, those don't belong to the zoo. Those are wild geese, so that's not my problem.
I hope they're endangered. And it becomes a real problem.
I think they're actually a nuisance. I think they're protected because it's.
I think they are the Canadian geese, right?
Yeah, they're like a national bird or some shit. But
yeah.
So the problem is I go back in and there's a cop that works at the zoo.
Oh.
I don't know if he's actually a cop. I don't know. I've never actually questioned that too much. He has a canine that they like walk around the zoo with.
Awesome.
Yeah, narc
Very
dog.
cool.
So
Love
I go.
the police state.
Yeah.
I love fucking soldiers at my local zoo. It's fucking dope.
So I go up to the security desk and he was standing there talking to somebody and I was telling them like, hey, asking them, has anyone turned in a key fob, anything like that? They're like, no, keep an eye out. And he was like, I was just about to take him for a walk. You want me to help you look? I'm like, sure, whatever.
Oh God.
So we go down and like it was fine. Like he was legitimately helping. He got down on the ground.
He's a zoo cop. He's probably the chillest.
Yeah, he was
killer
a super
on the squad.
Yeah. He murders with a smile. He was like getting down on the ground to like use his flashlight underneath, like they had porta potties there because some of the bathrooms are under construction. And we realized that there's like all these like runoff drains on the path. And we're like looking down in those, like somebody could have kicked it into here. He's like, the worst case scenario is either that or a kid picked it up and thought it was, something to play with. And then, they either took it home with them or they threw it away. Like, hopefully their parents see them playing with it, but, parents get distracted at the zoo. I'm like, all right, it's valid.
Incredibly likely it's never seen again.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like it just gets kicked somewhere, gets crushed, it gets thrown away.
There's no way within that short of a distance. Like, I was looking in the parking lot and I was like, I was expecting to see like bits of it broken from being run over or something, any sign of it.
Nothing.
Nothing. Yeah, no.
I think I told you, I went on a like 4 or 5 hour hike one time in the middle of the woods, lost my keys, have no idea when, got all the way back to my car, and I was too far away from anyone. I didn't have a phone either. I'm like, fucked. So I just go back to the woods and I ended up finding them. Like, so lucky in the middle of the fall, I just spotted it under some leaves. It was
That's wild.
It was the luckiest find I've ever had. It was crazy.
That's a God is good moment right there.
I mean, you're a little too gaudy when you're stressed out on work. You know that?
We have a new saying at work. We actually want to get T-shirts or pins made or something that says "God's Ops."
Oh shit!
It's
What about
pretty-
Glizzy Team 6?
It's a whole movement. So at this point, I've resigned to the fact that I'll never see these keys again.
Yeah, they're gone. You're walking around with a fucking cop that could arrest you at any moment.
And then I go to find out,
Got
like,
an
okay,
hour and a half left on the fruit clock.
yeah. I think the calmness of the dog, he did offer that, like, I asked him, it's like, I know when the dogs are like on the clock, you're not supposed to pet them. And he's like, yeah, you can pet him though. And I was
You
like,
can
all right,
kiss
cool.
him if you want.
He's like, so I let the dog sniff me, and I scratched behind his ear, and then he was done with me. He didn't want any more of it.
It would have been
All right.
so funny if you like let him like sniff you and be like, now that you got my scent,
Yeah.
find my key, bud.
Oh, he's detected narcotics. Let me.
Dude, that's the only reason they're there is to bust kids smoking weed. That's like no one's bringing bombs to zoos.
Yeah. Well, honestly, you say that. There was actually a somewhat legitimate bomb threat last year in the parking lot.
Well, I don't think this one police officer stopping it.
No, I think they had to call in someone else to deal with it. So, that's another funny story. They actually, like, there's a bunch of people that were trying to leave, and they were like, well, the parking structure is temporarily closed at the moment. The police are in there, and they're like, wouldn't give any details, but they were like, here's a $10 coupon to go buy something from, one of the stands or something. They came up with some shit quick.
Sorry, you can't leave this location. We're dealing with a fake bomb threat.
Yeah, exactly. They're all the theories were like somebody's like on the loose and they're searching for someone. All they knew is there was like a bunch of cops in and around the parking structure.
That's
So I kind of resign myself to I don't have any control in this situation without spending money, and I don't want to do that because either way, I would still have to run back down here to get my car and all this other shit. So I'm like, fuck it. At least if
was your car going to be locked in overnight?
Yeah.
Would that have been a problem?
No, that would have been a good thing. I mean, I can get in because I have access. I could have gone down like first thing in the morning and grabbed it. That was the plan, was like either my mom would drive me down to pick up my car or I would have just stolen her car for the day.
You weren't worried about it getting towed?
No, it's like inside an employee access area.
But I feel like even like working at like an Amazon or something, if you left your car somewhere.
They have my license plate on file. Like they know I'm supposed to be there. They know my vehicle.
Not overnight. I would still just be.
It's safe there. There's randos park there overnight. Someone gets too drunk drinking at the zoo because they, start at 10 o'clock and they can't drive at home. They can leave it there overnight.
It's safe. Okay.
Yeah, it's good. So I chill in the back and I open the trunk and I kind of clear out me a spot and lay in the back and watch YouTube videos, and it was nice and chill.
What was your battery life like? Because I texted you, I'm like, don't let your battery die.
Yeah, you said that, and actually, you reminded me of something. So this is a huge plus. I've never had this in my life before. This is old technology, but I'm just getting hip with it.
Battery saver mode?
No, a portable charger, like
power bank,
like a battery, power bank. My mom had bought. She got one. It was like a deal. You get like two of them in a pack, kind of thing. She got one for herself, and she gave me the other one. And I had never actually used it. It was just sitting in my backpack. And that
held a charge?
It held a charge and was actively charging my phone as I was using it, which was pretty sick.
Yeah.
So, battery was good. It started to get a little dark out, but then my mom finally came up, took me over, dropped off the fruit, get back to the house.
Hey, whoa. We're speeding through the details.
Okay, you're right.
What is the fruit clock like? How long did she take?
So
you could have died from dysentery.
I think I noticed. Okay, we have data. We have data here. Let me refer to.
And how tempted were you to eat the fruit?
Slightly, but here's another big boon for me. The devil was looking out for me. We had The zoo was open for a special event that night.
Okay.
And I found this out because I went over to the security gate, operator, and I was like, hey, if I got somebody picking me up, I got stuff in my car over here. If I got somebody picking me up, can they, without a badge, pull in here? Like, can I give you the make and model of the car, give you some kind of verifying information to let them in? And he was like, oh, they can just go through the main gate. The zoo's open tonight for this special thing. And I was like, all right,
Nice.
cool.
Yeah.
Upon finding that out, I also realized that, like, if the zoo's open, that means that at least there's some kind of food or some kind of thing open. Now here's another thing where me being me is cool sometimes because I get free shit at the zoo.
Yeah.
So I walked into this pizza place that was open, and I usually, I could just go up to the front and I tell them what they want, and they're just like, yeah, you're good.
I would like to sample your wares today.
Yeah. They didn't have the front desk open that day, though. They were actually in the back where you pick up your food after you order it, and they were just handing out little pieces, plates of pizza.
Nice.
And I'm like, all right, that's cool. And I hop in line, and as I'm standing in line, I'm realizing all of the people that are here with, they're like, parents of like kids with disabilities.
Why?
I mean, I assume it was like hey, so then there's no like,
It's a
it's not like a
disabled day
big
at the zoo?
crowds. Yeah, it's like, no big crowds or whatever. It's easy to, get through with your wheelchairs and your different stuff.
Okay.
It's more accessible kind of thing.
And you're stealing their pizza.
Yes.
Gotcha.
I'm taking the pizza out of the mouth of a
Disabled
child. Yeah.
Awesome. That's
pretty based.
check that off my to-do list.
I assume they don't assume it was an account. They can just make more pizza, but
Nope, they ran out of supplies right after you.
little Billy didn't get a piece. So yeah, as I'm sitting there eating the pizza, I'm like plotting the next move of like, do I go look more, or do I just go back to the car? And it's like, I've looked 3 times at this point. It's not going to magically appear anymore. I've looked all the places. We looked under everything. It's not there.
How funny would it have been if a disabled child was holding it and wouldn't give it back?
I would take his pizza then.
So how long's it been? What's the fruit count like?
The fruit is, so at this point, okay, yeah. I was looking up.
Gotta be tepid at best.
I was looking up when I reached out to you. So yesterday,
when we were supposed to be recording, mind you.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So you called me at 8. Meanwhile, so when you called me at 8,
Yeah, because I was is this fucker dead?
No, yeah, I got stabbed in the zoo parking lot. I was in the process of moving all of the fruit. I was in process of loading the fruit into the new location. So I got picked up before then. That was dope.
You were close to 3 hours though. That fruit.
It was not the best for it, but it was cool enough. There was enough of a breeze that it maintained.
Yeah.
The main resource that we lost here was my time. But
oh yeah.
Again, the point of perspective that I basically just got, 3 hours of uninterrupted. I can sit on my phone and chill.
Probably on the clock
and kind of sit out in the nice breeze, in the sunshine a little bit, also within the comforts of my car.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't that bad. That part was not that bad.
Oh no, you made out okay.
So here's where it kind of sucks.
Okay.
It starts to suck again. Let me phrase it that way. We get home and
wait. So you're headed back, but in theory you have to still get the fruit to its destination and get your car.
We got the fruit back to the correct place in the process of going home. I put all the fruit in my mom's car.
What time did your day start?
My day started at 9, like 15, 9:30.
Okay, not too early, but you're on
at
12 hours.
At this point, it's like 7:45 ish.
Okay. Fruit's dropped off.
Fruit's dropped off. We're heading home. Probably got home around like 8:30, closer to 9 ish.
Now, did you scold your mom or?
No.
Do you apologize?
I was just grateful that she was there, and it was actually really sweet. My niece gets out as soon as they pull up, and she gets out to like help me unload the fruit and stuff.
Nice.
And she had on she got dressed up really nice to go out to the museum, and I'm so glad that I didn't like try to,
interrupt
end that time, because
Sure.
she definitely took it seriously and had a good time with it.
That's cool.
But we unload everything, we get back to the house, and I start looking.
You don't know where the key is.
I start looking for the key. I decided early on that okay, as soon as I get home, I'm just gonna turn my house over and look for these keys.
When were they gonna close? I know you could come back in the morning, but
yeah. So there's always there's always like officers there or whatever. There's
you could murder them to get to your card.
Yeah, if I needed to. Yeah, I mean, if my badge didn't scan,
you could take out that dog. Security. Yeah, it'd be easy. Gotcha.
This is actually really funny to me. I looked in like one set of drawers and realized, okay, it's not in here. I went upstairs and I checked in between some couch cushions. It wasn't there. And then I had the realization that I haven't seen it in a few months. What did I stop doing a few months ago? And it was wearing winter coats. So I go downstairs.
That's a good thought. Yeah.
I checked my closet. Lo and behold, the second coat I checked was in the fucking pocket.
Every winter, I remember you finding things in your pockets. This is a personality thing. My dad does the same
everyone
thing.
leaves things in their pockets.
Not over winter. Not I.
Over the summer.
Not I. I would never.
You've never reached in and found a little baggie in the
Never put anything in a pocket I didn't remember. Okay. I hide my drugs other places. I never forget to check my pocket.
Within like 10 to 15 minutes, I find these keys.
That's quick.
I was prepared for it to take all fucking night.
Yeah.
I was like about to drink some caffeine and just go for it. And my mom was already like, she was dead set on like, I'll run you to work tomorrow and I can pick you up afterward. And I would have had to figure out rides in between because I had to be at the market and then go from the market up to the truck and then from the truck to the zoo,
so
all this other shit.
Fuck that. I want to get my car now.
Yeah. So since I found the keys, she was like, oh, I'll just take you to get your car in the morning, or we can just go tonight. I was like, whichever you prefer. And she was like, I'm down to do either. And I said, I would like to get my car tonight so that we don't have to do any of this in the morning and you don't have to wake up early.
Yeah. That's the way to go.
So we go down there. It's a 30-minute drive to the zoo. It's an hour to and from. So I didn't get back home until like 10:30, closer to 11.
13-hour day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I now have to wake up at 4:30 to be at work.
That would have been today?
Yeah, that was today.
And were you on the news today too?
No, that was last Saturday.
Okay. That would have been funny.
That would have been pretty fucking bonkers.
So you had a 13-hour day. It is now 10 p.m. and you have to be awake in 6 hours.
Correct.
Yeah, you're probably still wound up.
Yeah, of course. And there's absolutely no way I was falling asleep before 12:30, 1 o'clock.
Yeah.
So I'm basically at this point, I'm thriving on blueberries, lemonade,
pizza,
and barbecue potato chips.
Disabled pizza.
The disabled pizza. Stolen Dreams pizza.
and police dog licks.
Yeah.
Wow. You made it though.
And want to know the real kicker, the real best part?
Lay it on me.
We just started recording literally, 10 minutes after I got home. It was another 13-hour day. And then, but at least most of it I was on the clock for, so that's great. The best part is tomorrow I get to do it again. It should be, as long as I don't lose my keys, it should be a shorter day. It should be like an 8 or 9 hour day.
Oh, man, it's tough though.
It's a good thing I like my job.
God, I hate losing shit. It's almost worse when it's your own fault though. Like at least this was a design fail.
Yeah. This is there is no intelligent creator because they would not have made a key this way.
Just look at a giraffe's neck, there's no God. Bro, they have all these cardiac problems. Their heart can't pump it that high. It's a real thing.
Pretty fucked up.
If you heard the watchmaker analogy?
Maybe?
It's the go-to intelligent designer argument. Watchmaker argument. Let's see if I can find it. It's a good...
While you're looking that up, I'm going to eat some chips real quick.
Yeah, I want to hear that crunch.
Get the crinkle of the bag.
Do you got anything? I mean, that's a fun story. Do you got anything else any other facets you need to dive into?
Yeah, let me tell you all
Oh, yeah.
Let me tell you all about it.
Is that a no? Because I do have the watchmaker's analogy pulled up.
It was making me... I was going to keep talking with food in my mouth, but it was making me laugh too much to continue.
All the dust was flaking into my lungs.
Yeah.
The watchmaker analogy is a technological argument. In simple terms, it states that because there is a design, there must be a designer. The analogy is important in natural theology, where it is used to show the existence of God. Okay, so what I'm thinking of is the counter, as well as intelligent design. William Paley gave one of the best-known explanations for this in his book, Natural Theology, published in 1802. Anyone finding a pocket watch in a field will recognize that it is designed intelligently. Living beings are similarly complex and must be the work of an intelligent designer. So
you can't believe that we come from apes, but you can believe that we're watches.
That
man is saying we are pocket watches.
Yeah, so here's one of
we are more akin to a pocket watch than we are to mammal ancestry.
So what people who make this argument on the side of God, they say, well, take the contents of that watch, take the watch, put it in a bag, crush it with a hammer, and shake the bag of all the parts and open it. And how many times would you have to do that before you get a completed watch back? And that is the proof of how amazingly beautiful it is that our designer made us as that perfect watch.
Are they saying we should put a person in a bag and smash it? And smash them until we get a full person back?
It's the same as like how many monkeys on a typewriter to type Shakespeare.
Oh, yeah. Infinite monkeys with infinite time.
Yeah. So the three main points of criticism against the watchmaker analogy, and I've heard better, but this is just Wikipedia. Complexity does not necessarily require a designer. It can also come from mindless natural processes. David Hume gives an example of a snowflake and the generation of crystals. These are mentioned in his works, Dialogues Concerning Natural Religion, and an Inquiry Concerning Human Understanding. Other people have mentioned the infinite monkey theorem. The watch is a bad analogy. The watchmaker is more complex than any watch. If complexity proves intelligent design, then the question arises, who designed such a complex watchmaker? That's fun.
Yeah. That complex watchmaker who makes beautiful watches, but he's actually a murderer.
And gangly giraffes.
So that was my couple days.
It's fun.
How you doing, Steven?
I'm okay. Actually, the other day
I'm okay.
I was out of town and I saw this guy carrying something, and I thought I could see his keys, and I was like, maybe I'll just steal the fob, go back to my hometown and see how it plays out. No, I'm okay. Since recording, what was it? Our last Hard Men, Pastor Eric Kahn. I've been reflecting on one of the things I had said, and it's been so. Normally, if I say something, or if either of us says something on this podcast, we know realistically it comes out like 2 weeks later. Mm-hmm. So there's always time to edit or reconsider what we said, right?
Yeah.
Which is, I think, important in not being too edgy, or just like a chance to reconsider what we say or whatever.
Yeah, right.
And then normally, I'm not willing to say something like internal or like personal to myself unless I've thought about it for a while before recording. I'm sure there's been times that's not been true, but generally I'm not just like, I maybe occasionally, like something comes up in conversation I haven't considered about myself, but generally...
You put me on that pedestal a decent amount.
How so?
Of like you throw hypotheticals at me, and then I have to, in real time while being recorded, give you the correct answer that you're looking for.
Here's the thing. Is despite all my faults, I am a planner. Like,
yeah, it's true. 100% true.
I have to write or like consider things beforehand. I think more than you do. And it makes for, I think, a more interesting dynamic when we're not both.
Absolutely, yes.
Yeah. But generally, I'm not going to say something about myself that's too vulnerable unless I've thought it through for a little bit beforehand. Mm-hmm. And one of the lines in it, before we got into the men are made for dominion, I said, I don't really like who I'm becoming. And I was trying to figure out the words for it. And I was like, it's not angry, but and I realized it's jaded. I was listening back. I don't like being as jaded as I am. I feel like I'm cut from jewels that become so jaded.
I feel like now, as much as, you might be feeling that, I feel like part of that's like your natural state.
I think so too.
I think you've been jaded for longer than you realize.
Yeah, I do too. I just, I'm not.
Is this a new optimistic era for Steven?
No. So writing these stupid manifestos that I've wrote, the idealism one, I feel like I learned a lot through writing that, and I really think that is like my true state of belief in things. Mm-hmm. Like I believe in ideas. I believe in idealism, which is not a super forgiving thing to believe in our world. And I think it leaves me very jaded. And I don't like much people. I don't like much of our world. And I increasingly care less and less about things. Like more my ethics and moral idealism has decayed a lot more than I would like it to. So I just feel a bit at odds. But compared to last week, doing all right, doing a little bit better.
Good.
Got a little art done, got a little things. Wrote our next episode, which I'm excited about, a poopy politician. What are the moral limits to sex? And
when I called you yesterday, we were on the phone. I couldn't remember what we were supposed to record, and I said, what are we supposed to be doing today? And you were like, sex poop politician. I was like, yes.
Dude, this dude's crazy. There's all these videos that went viral of him like covered in shit or licking toilets in public. It's pretty wild.
It's pretty dope, man.
It cool. is. It's half dope, half depraved. Okay,
yeah.
But
there's always a little bit of dope when you talk about depraved. There's always just a little bit.
Yeah,
I mean, maybe not always.
A smidge or a smudge.
Yeah, a smidge or a smudge.
All right, so I got some things we could run down if you want in preparation.
Yeah, for sure.
Because his story isn't super interesting, but the reaction people had, I think, is very interesting to like what we find acceptable in sex and for who do we find it to be acceptable or not acceptable. But one of my opening questions that I think we could play around with now, and that may help us at the start of that episode, is the question of nudity, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Public nudity. Should it or shouldn't it be acceptable? Why is it illegal for our bodies to exist in their natural state? That's the question.
It is weird.
It sucks.
Yeah, I understand somewhat of why. Oh, I just fucked my mic stand. That's not what I meant to say. I think it is weird, but I understand that in the context of
pedophiles.
There's that, but in the way that we've kind of demonized our bodies through history,
shame,
we've put shame on it. We've entered all of these ideas into a consciousness that when you can't just quickly take those away, it may not be able to be taken away at all. Except over, many, many generations. But I do find it somewhat interesting that we, like, at what point was clothing no longer about armor or protection, and it was suddenly about, like, fashion is one thing, like, decorating your person, but since when did it become about modesty? Was like, at what point in civilization building did it become like, we cover ourselves, these parts of ourselves, not just for the simple, we don't want to, they're sensitive and we don't want to hit them on things.
Right.
Or we don't want a snake to come up and bite it. But for I don't want people to see I don't want to see other people's parts, and I don't want other people to see mine. Yeah. For what purpose?
Shame has to be such a huge part of it. Now, so in my mind, I feel like, and I think Oregon recently maybe changed some stuff, like you're allowed to be publicly nude, but it can't be. So in theory, like there was a TikTok that was going buku or whatever, because this guy was accusing another man of this guy revealing himself to his kids. and the police show up and they can't arrest him because the guy just was a nudist and it was legal. And they're telling this dad, like, we can't do anything unless he's using his nudity as sexual gratification for himself or for someone else. And it was like, he's allowed to be naked. I don't know if that's actually Oregon's law or not, but in my mind, I feel like it should be completely acceptable to exist as we are.
Right.
But also, I don't think I would ever want to.
Agreed.
In part, maybe due to like instilled elements of shame, but more so out of protection.
Yeah, it's
Because
like
there's creepy people. I don't trust people like that. No fucking shot.
It feels so vulnerable.
Yeah.
To be,
and it shouldn't, but that's our reality.
Yeah, like
now,
both emotionally vulnerable and like physically vulnerable.
Yeah.
To not have some kind of barrier on.
But then the argument I can get behind is like a utilitarian argument. Like the utility is protection. And in theory, I want people to be protected solely out of the fact of the ease of which disease could spread.
Mm-hmm.
Like if everyone was naked, it's easy to think if everyone's attractive, that would be nice. But you're gonna have a lot of like
and people with
sick
poor.
people.
I mean, people have poor hygiene as it is.
Yeah, like somebody. I don't want the person that unfortunately has like an HIV or like a fucking syphilis or herpes or whatever to be naked on the subway.
Yeah,
where we would inevitably see increased rates of transmission from unknown sources. Like, that's not good either.
Right.
So I can kind of see a mix between, like, what I think is, like, ethically true and what I think is also in the best interest. And that there's a bit of a divergence there. And I find that split to be interesting.
Yeah.
Because I think different people gravitate towards the different ends of that split.
Yeah, I think we find this, maybe not all the time, but often enough that I find myself saying it in kind of a repetition of like, it's kind of hard when it's like you can't just have one rule for it. It's got to have, like this, like either this is okay, is like, that would be like, that's a simple and defined, or it's okay when or if there has to be some kind of a stipulation to it.
Lots of caveats.
Yeah, or just like, if to understand, I know you hate giving the
over prefacing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But like, there
really
has to be some kind of, like, when you do that, I understand why you don't like it, but also it's like we said, it's you get more information when you communicate more.
Exactly.
Yeah. Then you have more of a better communication.
I agree, but I think I think this is probably very obvious in our different communication styles, where you'd like to be more exact, and I'm willing to speak to, I think, another person more abstractly, where I don't really care about the words they're saying, but more the meaning we're interpreting from each other. Like, I'm okay with a lot of words being bad or wrong, as long as we got the gist of each other, the spirit of the idea or whatever.
Listen, Stephen, every word that I say is valuable and holds power.
Measured.
So it's my duty
to Fichtenstein over here
to be as precise and clear and concise as possible. I must speak plain truths. Let
it be known. All right, here's a question.
Yeah.
I sent her a message earlier. I don't know if she'll get back or not, but I was listening to the artist we've mentioned on the show. Her name's Hope Doe, aka Fly Apples. On Instagram. She's been doing some cool stuff, but she was I like her art, and she was recently on a podcast talking about AI art. I thought she did good, but I've thought about the topic a lot, and we've dipped into it at times, but we've always kind of refused to do a deep dive. And I've been okay with that because it is like such an oversaturated area of conversation. But now that it's starting to die down a little bit, I do think it would be interesting. But to avoid to avoid that, I want to posit one question. Okay.
Okay.
In the realm of AI art. All right. Pretend you're an artist. Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
We're artists now. You publish a piece of work publicly.
Okay.
Do you own it?
I mean, yes.
All right. Next question. You're a band. Pretend you're a band. You're a whole fucking band. You got a guitar, a drummer, a bass, a fucking tambourine player, all inside of you. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
You go to
I'm a one-man band.
Yeah. You go to the studio. You open your mouth, and all the instruments come out. You record your album. You fucking put it out. It's the late 90s, early 2000s. It all is on LimeWire. You put it out for free, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then you disband the band. You fucking off yourself, and everyone inside of you, all your multiple personalities die, right?
Okay, yeah.
Do you own that album? Just in general, if you're a band and you put an album out.
You self-publish it.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, so here's one. I don't know all of the realities of this. I've never had to be an executor of a will or anything like that.
We're not talking about legality of ownership.
Well, right. Let me, I want to know this. Do you know how that works with, like, any of your, like, assets or things, like when you die? If you, let's say you didn't have a will of any kind. What happens with that? Like, let's say I have
I understand.
a bunch of gold in my backyard.
Normally it goes to your, like, next closest living whatever. Different assets have different sets of rules or whatever. But here's my thought, though. So right now, Instagram and other social media this week have announced that they're scraping all of their art and photography to be used for AI art models. Completely unethical. DeviantArt started doing that years ago. I've posted art on Reddit before. Any art you post on Reddit, private companies scrape. Anything you put online is stolen. No matter what you've wrote, art you've made, photos you've uploaded, it is all stolen by various companies and governments, foreign and domestic. Anything you put online, other people have stolen. That's just a fact of our world. Most people never affects anything ever. For artists, it's starting to come into play a little bit. So my question is, when you publish art, how much do you really own it anymore? And I understand, like, legally, I own this. I have, like, a self-copyright of sorts. I should be able to sell my work, and no one else, in theory, should be able to sell it.
Right.
But I feel like if I put out art publicly, despite, like, me owning it, I feel like there's also a public ownership of sorts. If I'm a band and I put out an album, this album, unless I'm making it and it's, like, on my computer, no one else is supposed to be able to access it. If I put it out publicly, it's meant to also be owned by everyone else. Like, you want other people to have some shared ownership in it existing, or else no one would see it.
Yeah, you want other people to, at the very least, to be able to view it and appreciate it.
Yeah. But I feel like in some sense that is a form of ownership.
Yeah. I mean, it's a similar argument to the, like what we said about NFTs, where it's like, but you can just download the JPEG. And you have the image too. And it's like, yeah, you don't have the whatever on the blockchain or whatever the fuck it was.
You don't have the digital place on a blockchain that proves ownership. Yeah.
Yeah, but I still can use the PNG
Utility
file to do anything I want to with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't know, when with AI art stuff, there's a lot of like obviously unethical things that are happening, but I also have there's a lot of elements of it that I feel like and I'm not speaking about anyone specifically, but there's a lot of elements of it that I feel like artists are like just kind of tripping, where it's like this doesn't actually change that much for many people.
Mm-hmm.
Where I feel like the answer is to shame bad art and to encourage good art. And AI art, there's tons of awesome tools and possibilities, but it's easy to tell what is the low effort, artistic decision-making work. And that's more often going to fall into the bad art category that we can shame. Mm-hmm. And the stuff that falls into the good art category, we praise.
Yeah.
Now, what I really don't like is also this week, Adobe Photoshop changed their terms of service to say that while you're working on a project, like imagine I'm working on one of my pieces of art. It's working with the new versions of Photoshop, which I use stolen, old school software.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But if I was working on current software, they are saying they are able to see, monitor, and scan whatever you're working on for AI use, for oversight, for ethical overseeingship. So in the past, things uploaded to the Adobe cloud were scanned anonymously for things such as CSAM, the child sexual abuse material. Mm-hmm. There's databases of hashes on images that are like flagged, that like the FBI and other groups can scan servers for images that match these hashes, where it's like, this is obviously illegal sexual material, or things like maybe like a counterfeiting, like these are scans or models of illegal gun modifications, or like dollar bills that were up. Like there are certain things like that would be scanned. That's something iPhone shit got a bunch of pushback because they were starting to scan people's photo rolls and stuff. Mm-hmm. So now Photoshop is saying they changed the terms of service, so anyone who wants to use it has to agree that their open art projects can be theoretically used for AI to be trained on. So as you're working on something, they're saying, fuck you, we're going to train our shit on your art, and we can scan it for illegal XYZ, all this shit. And it's very invasive. And I feel like that is a more obvious example of like a form of abuse where like we no longer have our primary digital places to work on are no longer safe.
Yeah. You
can't make art without them choosing to steal it for AI training. That seems not good.
Yeah, I think at least from what I've seen of the marketing for it, I think part of that is like, we need your permission to do this so that we can do what's the feature called where you can like select an area of the image and tell like AI to fill it in.
Yeah. That's
kind of thing.
No longer what their terms of service limit it to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, even if it was currently still that, it's like the possibilities of what they could do with that, of them storing and scanning and having the access to
anything you make.
Yeah.
Think of how many NDAs are accidentally broken. Like if I have an NDA with a client that says no one can see this before this time, or no one can use derivative works over this from this, and then Photoshop's automatically uploading it for their AI models, and someone uses an AI command that reproduces part of your project, or something similar. Like there's all kinds of questions in play.
Yeah.
And then right now the big push is like training ethical models of user submitted data. I don't really give a fuck about any of that. I just don't think it matters. But I think it's a tool we should learn to use coolly as possible. But yeah, who the fuck cares? Now here's something I do want to do one of these days.
Mm-hmm.
Can you guess?
Make some AI art?
Wrong. I would love to set up a pirate radio station.
Oh, cool.
And we could just loop our podcast 24/7 until the feds raid it and they'd find it in the woods.
It's a little cabin in the woods with an old school tape deck going.
Yeah, for real though, I miss pirate radio. Like it actually is so fucking stupid that there's agencies that monitor the things you say on the airwaves. Doesn't that just seem so fucked up?
Yeah.
It's like so old-timey.
I mean, the problem of it being like, oh, then people have access to this, and if you're, releasing something that can cause harm, it's like, well, they can just change the channel.
Exactly.
Because they don't want to hear it.
Now, I understand the argument of like, you don't want to jam up emergency broadcast channels or whatever.
Yeah, for sure.
But the FCC's role on policing speech, like the idea, like if I set up a ham radio and I want to broadcast our podcast, we legally could not, or we would be charged or fined for swearing on public airwaves, is insane.
Yeah.
That is like 1920s. A poor man, our great dead grandfather's logic. Like this is that the government needs to police swearing.
Yeah.
On radio.
So here's another point to add to this discussion, and I do think it's quite important. Radio sucks.
No, radio's still based. It's just there's not as much. Radio's cool.
I think the technology of radio is cool.
I learned everything I've ever known on a radio. I convert all media to radio format to listen. Radio's cool.
Hey, that actually used to be a thing. Remember, if you didn't have the tape deck in your car, you had a little aux, plug-in tuner that you had to like, connect your phone or connect your listening device.
All podcasts are just second stage of radio. Like, I learned of music. I learned of sex. I learned of art from the radio. I love fucking radio. It's just most radio sucks.
Let me say this about that. Some real booming you got going on over there.
Yeah.
Some real boomer shit.
I want our podcast on the radio, and I was looking into it, and I realized it wouldn't be legal, and that bothers me. And that's why back in the old days, like Britain to England, there were all these pirate radio stations that would be set up on boats in international waters to fight back against the control of the music industry, where they could play electro music and techno and alternative music that wasn't allowed on radio stations. And that's the only way like they could get exposure. So the idea that you can't swear on radio without being fined is bullshit.
So what about the open waters thing? Like the international, isn't that a thing where you can like do it from a boat?
That's what they did, and it still happens, but you might not be breaking your country's laws in theory, but there still are international laws on that, and you still they still busted all those people. Like, they don't make exceptions for it. Like, one way or another, they can get you for it if they want.
Well, here's how we get around that.
I need you to acknowledge it is bullshit that we couldn't have our podcast on the radio.
It is, but also, to be honest with you, I kind of don't really care that much.
Why? This is like classic freedom of speech.
Yeah, but it also that part doesn't really. I don't see it like affecting me in a way that's real enough to care about.
What about all the European countries where you can't like call someone gay or like say certain words without being fined? Like America's that teetering on that shit.
That sucks too. I think that sucks to a higher degree.
I'm saying we fight back on the radio battleground, okay? Because we are losing.
It kind of just sounds like
our freedom of
work
speech.
That's not worth.
Yeah,
anything.
We're not doing any of this, okay? We have a podcast. We're not doing radio, but I would like to. I would like to be able to.
You would like to be able to do radio without cleaning up your act, is what you're saying.
Absolutely.
I don't
it is
disagree
bullshit,
with that.
Though.
And I will stand by your side as you fight this fight.
Damn straight. Took awful lot of convincing, but
now let me offer this.
Okay.
If we had a boat, step one, you get a boat.
I got 2 boats.
Okay, well, perfect. Then we're
twice.
We're there twice.
Can you imagine owning a boat? How much of a
no, it sounds
you'd
awful.
have to be? Oh my god.
The debate I've heard a lot of is, what's worse, owning a boat or owning a pool? Because both of them are just black holes that you throw money into.
Either way, I can fish out of it.
Yeah, exactly. So what we do is we get a boat, and you get all your tools and whatnot to transmit the radio from said boat, and then we staff the boat with just a bunch of cats.
You understand this ends with drowned cats.
No
matter how you play it out in your head.
Okay, hold on. Wait. Let me start over.
Please.
We get a good boat.
I don't think you understand cats, boats, or radios right now.
Listen, cats don't want to be in the water. Cats are going to stay on the boat.
They'll keep it up by any means necessary.
As long as that boat's a good boat and it stays up and does what a boat do, then I think we're in the clear.
You know what? Never mind.
But also, can't arrest a cat.
Sure can.
Hey, listen. Okay,
I put my cat in jail every day. When she's bad, I put a laundry hamper over her.
Okay.
And I say, look who's in jail.
That cat is operating under your house laws, and that's different than international laws. Now here's the thing. Up until very recently, we thought that you couldn't arrest a president or a former president, or there was no precedent for that. But now we know that you can. Now, I would like to find if the cat has ever been arrested by law, and not just a man who puts a laundry basket over his cat.
2 things.
Mm-hmm.
Do you believe when a black cat crosses your path, it's bad luck?
No.
Okay, neither do I. But I came up with a good one the other day.
Okay.
I was on the phone with someone, and a raccoon crossed my path. I was in a car, and it crossed the street and made me wait for it. And you know what I thought?
What?
I thought, that's an omen. You're going to be arrested today. And I changed every decision the rest of my afternoon. Okay?
You didn't have the oatmeal. You didn't have the eggs.
It was a warning sign. If a raccoon crosses your path, you try not to get arrested. Now, I'm curious if you've heard this one. Do you do anything when you drive under a train?
No.
That's when you make a wish when you're a city boy.
Yeah.
You lift your feet in the car and you make a wish.
Yeah.
I like that one.
I do like the one where when you go through a tunnel, you hold your breath.
I think I told you the guy that he thought you were supposed to honk. And he honks through the entire I-75 tunnel. Dude, watched this dude do it, and like 2 cars immediately crashed on the highway. And I was like, dude, do you do this every time? He said, yeah. And he didn't think it was weird at all.
It didn't register to him that no one else is doing it.
2 cars crashed like at 65 miles an hour because he's just fucking laying on the horn. It's like, yeah, I do this every time I go through a tunnel.
Oh, fuck. God damn.
He went to prison for assaulting someone with a golf club. He smashed all their teeth out with the golf club.
Oh, that's really brutal.
It was pretty funny. It's pretty funny.
Oh, well, I think that's gonna.
Yeah,
I think that's gonna do it for tonight.
I will. We got big stuff on the horizon. Yeah, I think that does.
Thanks again for listening, everybody. Thank you to Approaching Human for the use of his music. You can find his work at SoundCloud
At Approaching-Human. We got the album on the way.
I realized, is the album out yet?
No.
Are we on the watch for it?
We're on the watch. It's probably, knowing he says like 3 months, it'll be 6. But it's almost done.
Typical.
Album cover is first drafted, nearly together. Anything else? I got new art on Instagram, new episodes of the pod up. Anything?
2 weeks from now, sex poop politician.
Sexy poopy politician.
Pretty cool.
It'll be fun. It won't be too gratuitous either. It'll be the appropriate amount of gross.
Steven has a whole bunch of artwork on Instagram that you can download and steal.
Please do. Like System of a Down.
SKYZSEX.
Steal this album.
Just print out a bunch of, pieces of his and then go tape them up places.
Just litter them.
Yeah.
You
don't have to credit them or nothing. Just put them up.
Yeah.
That's going to be all for us today. Stay classy, eat trashy.
Go fast, eat trash.